the secondary skills underneath of it to be 100 as well. Do not forget about momentum and combat maneuvering. Endurance gives a stamina bonus to your character and can be leveled to 100, although it was debated near the end of MO1 if the skill was worth leveling to 100, so follow a build guide or test it yourself. My recommendation is to get it to 100 as stamina is extremely important when surviving. Anatomy is how proficient you are with bandaging or healing yourself. Get this to 100 no matter the type of fighter you are, unless of course you're a healing
20
mage
gold.
or some paladin build. Melee combat will also be at 100 as it's your proficiency with melee weapons. It's a secondary, but your weapon of choice is not. Choosing a melee
Capacious
weapon
bags, I can buy 3 of them.
is very important to any fighter. There are a number of ways
I think I probably
to
will.
style and craft a weapon to your liking, whether that be with a long handle or short.
Yeah, I feel like I'm making progress. Very good.
Heavy or light.
Fucking sweet.
Materials you choose for the blade and handles. So while you are new, experiment with different types of weapons, as the length of the weapon, the length of the handles, the weight of the weapon is all going to swing differently and have a different range of attack. So practice with a bunch of things and find something that works well for your build. Coming back to pull weapons, if you wish to use a pull sword or pull axe, they have extremely large range and they hit pretty decently hard. You will need 100 skill points in both spears and swords or spears and axes. So that will take 200 points to use a pull weapon. Now that that's all out of the way, let's move on to the actual combat. As a beginner, you want to practice on PvE mobs as much as possible, and practice in a friendly duel setting with your friends or guildmates. Of course, you can always join my guild, link in the description, say Gruelich sent you. As I stated, the parrying system and attacking system is based off of mouse or keyboard movements, and the parrying system is timing your block in the correct direction at the correct time. All mobs in the game are on a static timer, meaning they will not change their attack speed pattern unless of course they parry you. So say a walker takes 4 seconds to complete one attack phase, unless off of a parry, the walker will always attack every 4 seconds. Of course, I'm just throwing a random number out there, don't take that verbatim, but that's essentially how the system works. Most of the mobs also have a different attack of animations. I say most because scoundrels and bandits, being essentially the same monster, have a same attack animation, like razorbacks and bush pigs, or cougars and panthers. But something like satyrs have a completely different set of animations from a bandit and are harder to read. Like their left attack and center attack look similar to me, so it's really hard to parry, and they are on a different static timer than a bandit. So learning how to creature attacks and the timer they are set on is vital in learning the parrying system. Now, PvP parrying is completely different than PvE parrying, as there is a player attacking you, and they are random. They can use feints, hold their attacks charged slightly longer, and naturally attack at different times, like heavy attack, quick jab, heavy attack. It is said that the first 2 seconds of your block is considered the parrying phase, and after that it is considered a blocking phase. If an attacker holds his attack longer than 2 seconds, his damage is reduced, but you have to reset your block to initiate another parry phase, or hold it for a block. Attacking off a parry, as stated, is the most effective way to attack. It is quick and does max damage. Once you get comfortable with parrying both players and PvE monsters, and you get used to your new settings and mouse sensitivity, it's time to move on to the next phase of training, and that's paying attention to your stamina bar, your regeneration, and your gray bar. Gray bar is essentially a permanent penalty on your stam or health depending on how well your reserves have lasted. If they get below a threshold, you have to rest or eat food or potions to get your reserves back up and get rid of that gray bar. So it's ideal to carry food or potions on your person at all times.
I am listening.
Stamina is very important to any fighter, as without stam, you will not be able to attack or move fast enough and will certainly die. To control your stam in a large group fight, it is pretty simple to back away from the fight, get behind your allies until your bar is at a workable level. Block if you need to, keep your weapon drawn, as your combat maneuvering skill will play a huge role in getting you back into the fight. In a 1v1 situation, you can accomplish this by playing smart. Play defensively, but not total defense, as that is a telltale sign that you are a new player and you will be quickly taken advantage of. Attack when you see an opening and work off of your new offensive drive. A general rule of thumb is don't let your stam drop between 1/3 or 1/4 when you're initiated into a fight. When you're traveling by horse or on foot, keep your mounts and yourself stand above 3/4 or half, as you never know what lurks over the next hill and you will be prepared for a fight. The next thing you would want to pay attention to is the equipment and armor you are using. Ensuring your armor meets your armor weight requirements will be very crucial for you to be viable in any fight situation. If the equipped armor goes over the weight you can wear, your movement speed and stamina regeneration will be heavily impacted. You will still get protected by the gear, but you will be slower and unable to escape as quickly. Some people do use heavier armors and succeed as a heavy tank fighter with some practice, but stamina plays an extreme role with these types of fighters. The heavier armors generally provide better protection, but hurt your regeneration. So talk with some crafters in the game about armor with you, or comment down below if you have any tips or questions. Combat movement is extremely important to understand. Not the skill, but for you as a player and how you move around your opponent quickly without wasting a lot of stam. You can do this by zigzagging, circling, or sticky backing and flanking your opponent from the outside step. Sticky backing means to get behind your opponent and to stay at the behind them as often as you can. It's very important to practice and to understand. If you stand still or run in a straight line, you will go down quick and be at a disadvantage. Personally, I sprint while 1v1ing and only back off when I regen stam or need to pop a band-aid. Leveling the anatomy skill is extremely important. Your task in a 1v1 is to stay at the flank or the outside of your target and to get behind them, as they will be too busy spinning in circles trying to keep you in front of them, messing up their blocks. Do not run in a straight line for the target unless your name is Thavian. He's pretty good at that. Counterattacks is a very debated topic. Right after you parry, you can instantly do a fast attack with max damage. However, you must choose wisely when you decide to use your next strike. You do have a small window of opportunity before it goes away, but if you miss or someone jumps out of the way or blocks your counter, they take an advantage onto you, as there is a delay during and after the counter and it limits your movement for a small amount of time. As stated earlier, it is important to learn, as if your enemy knows that you can parry, they will back off a little bit or change their technique, and you must be able to adapt to their changes. Practice makes perfect, and combining your strike with feints and fakes, using counters and not using counters, using your movement techniques, and keeping your stam up will make you harder to kill, even if you are outnumbered. You will never go down without a fight. No amount of tutorial on YouTube or guide reading or taking notes or speaking with people will make you better at this mechanic in the game. Getting out and fighting and practicing and putting in the time is the only real way of getting better at this game. It's like playing Rocket League. I finally hit champ rank after 2 years of playing, and even then I'm still struggling in Diamond 3. But practice will make you better. Now, obviously, don't take anything I said in this video for my footage. Watch the other guys beating the crap out of me. They're much better at it. But I hope this guide has helped you in some way, whether it gave you a different view on how you approach your next fight, or a different way of thinking on when you are situated into a fight. If you have any more questions, or if you want to leave some tips for the new guys watching this video, do it down in the comments below. Also, feel free to promote your guild. Check the description for important links that could help you in other aspects of the game that we will soon cover. But I hope these videos are enjoyable for you to watch, and I appreciate the support. We went up like 50 subscribers. That's insane. But as always, thank you for watching.
Yeah, it was good. I like this guy. I've watched these before. They're pretty good.
Hello to whoever finds this journal. My days in Maryland have been rewarding.
Thank
as they are
you.
troublesome and is often dangerous. I have spent
The excellent concept from my stream, Mr. BR4 Vado.
6 years assembling my notes in hopes the knowledge I have gained over the time spent in this world to bring good fortune to whoever finds this and to help them get a better understanding of the world they are about to enter. My intent is to create a compendium of how the world works works, what it has to offer, and how you can survive and prosper. There are times I feel my work will only serve more confusion about what I found, but I also felt it necessary to compose my ideas and experience to illuminate a path to those who wish to explore. Contained within are recipes, survival tips, warnings, and more, all in an effort to promote safe travels and an overall awareness of the world you are entering. There will be times when you will be tested in ways this compendium can either prepare you for or help you from. Your choices as a player and a guild may lead to swift and unprecedented consequences. I believe this to be the ultimate guide for survival and success. Welcome to Mortal Online 2. Ask him where you just came from.
Did you just come from, Bandit Leader?
And no.
Yeah, you shook, nah? Let me introduce you to Rorg. Rorg is part of the Demon Guild. The Demon Guild is one of many RPK guilds, or random player killer guilds in the game. Rorg is going to demonstrate for us today on what not to do when beginning your dungeoneering career in Mortal Online 2. Let's begin. It begins in the Tindremic Empire's capital, Tindrem. Tindrem is a bustling port city set in the northwest corner of the continent, filled with all sorts of characters, from heroes to traders, thieves, and scallywags, all looking to make a start to their fame and fortune. But what lurks in the dark alleyways and underneath the city is the real treasure that is sought after. From cutthroats, thieves, murderers, scoundrels, and tribe rats, people often scour the sewers looking for riches and glory, to boast about their reputation in the local pubs. Yes, this game offers a reputation system and a glory system. We can cover that at a different time. Tindrem Sewers is one of the first dungeons you'll be tempted to delve into and start your dungeoneering career as a first-time adventurer. But be warned, the sewers are not for you alone, nor are they for the weak and fragile. The dangers to expect outside of other players seeking your rewards are scoundrels and tribe rats. So let's discuss the difficulty of this dungeon. I'll give the dungeon a 1 to 5 rating based off of the time it takes to complete, the complexity of the dungeon, and the number of mobs or danger rating of potential PvP. But this is basically a maze underneath the city with a few dead ends. Monsters more or less lurk around every corner with a number of lootables, whether those be barrels or pots. So the time this dungeon takes to complete is more or less based off of party size. I recommend a party size of 3 to 5 adventurers, as the number of mobs and the chances of running into another group is roughly a 4. It's pretty high. With this party size, it should take roughly an hour to an hour 30 to complete and extract from the dungeon. If the group leader can navigate the winding corridors and control room spawns, it should not be too difficult. If it is your first time entering the sewers, it may take you longer than normal to find your way around, but you can truly get lost. If you are extracting, as long as you are ascending, you are generally headed in the right direction. As I'm not a mathematician, I can't really count how many monsters we have killed, but what I can do is warn you of the monsters that lurk in the shadows. The first PvE encounter you will face is scoundrels. Scoundrels aren't exactly a threat to those who have average gear. They are like bandits from the tutorial island, a step above your graveyard walker. There are numerous scoundrels, normally in groups of 3 to 4 in each room. Room size will vary the amount of mobs that will spawn inside of it. They are fairly easy to kill with a low amount of health and a low threat of damage. An adventurer that is proficient in parrying can easily eliminate or view these as a non-serious threat. I'll give them a 2 for difficulty. Tribe rats are rat people. They are stronger than a scoundrel and are worth a bit more, but nothing in this dungeon is truly a threat to a well-equipped player. The real danger is the PvP encounters. They drop a head worth 40 silver, and you can butcher the carcass mainly for emulgy and ground fur. Emulgy is used for weapon crafting and ground fur for armor crafting. I would give the tribe rats a danger rating of 2. They can be a danger for those who are new to combat and are not well equipped. The possibility of PvP is rather high. Let's go back to our friend Rorg. Rorg has broken 2 rules so far. He has came into the dungeon alone, and in this situation he is looking pretty fragile and outnumbered, at least 7 to 1. Now Rorg still has a chance at survival. Let's see how he reacts. Well, Rorg has now broken 3 rules. Respect the hustle. Let's see what consequences his choices have caused. Okay. Did we kill him now?
I guess really fight him.
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess now would be a good time to talk about dungeon etiquette. When you find yourself clearly outnumbered and are probably going to die, like Rorg here in a 7v1 situation, it is probably best to have some sort of dialogue prepared or use that natural charismatic charm and try to talk yourself out of the situation. Some groups, sure, are not going to want to talk and will just kill you for being there, which is why you have a group at your back. But if Rourke was raised with any bit of manners, he could have actually talked himself out of the situation and been about his way. I guess another thing that we could add here is when you're in a dungeon, there is no more RPK or ARPK rules. You are here to survive, get your loot, and get out by any means. Sort of like a strike first and ask questions later, but if you are on the other end, where you are outnumbered and are probably going to die, then use your best judgment. But that's life in Mortal Online. Let's move on to the real reason why people embark into the sewers. There are two boss events in the bottom level of the sewers, and if your group has made it this far, give yourself a good old pat on the back. Depending if your leader knows when and where to take left and right turns, you will end up in one of two rooms, the illusionist or the bandit leader. Let's talk about the illusionist. When you first enter the illusionist room, make sure to stick to the left wall until your party is inside, as when the event is triggered, the door closes behind you, and those who did not make it in cannot enter until the illusionist is defeated.
I don't see Georgie. Hold on.
He's right in front of you, Brenda.
Oh.
Once everyone is ready and lined up, the headstrong warrior rushes in with archers and mages to follow behind. But the illusionist has many tricks up his sleeve, such as pulling ninjutsu and shadow cloning himself, just like that yellow-haired guy, Nerd Toe. The illusionist as a boss is pretty difficult. He casts magic and has a pretty heavy melee attack, and killing the source of the clone does not kill the clones. He drops the skimming book and or scribing book. Scribing allows you to write spells into people's or your own spell book and goes for roughly 200 to 400 gold. Player demand pending and market flooding also pending. Skimming allows you to read books faster. Skimming can potentially be worth even more than that. I'd rate this boss as a difficulty of 4. So let's move on to the bandit leader. The bandit leader is a melee hard hitter. He drops a head that's around 5 gold. He has the potential to drop a couple gems and a few gold and silver coins. He also has the potential to drop his cape that is worth around 5,000 gold. And if you die while wearing the cape, you get to keep it. So that's pretty cool. And some other various loot. And oh look, our friend Rourke is back. It seems he has not learned his hard knock lesson in dungeoneering just yet. Yeah, Rourke's over there on the wall. We can pick him off with a bow. Or we can just let dude fucking take his loot. I'm gonna give dude back his band-aids, I guess. So I guess this is a good time to talk about PvP and dungeon strategies. If you noticed in our first fight with Rourke and this current fight, there is nobody calling shots, which is why we're kind of confused and running around. It is best to elect a shot caller, somebody to direct the dungeon, whether that's your guild leader, yourself, or Bobby from down the road. Somebody has to be constant communicating and giving orders to where to go, what to do, because if there is nobody directing traffic, then traffic is going whichever way they want without knowing the next move.
Yeah, this is why I was the leader for a long time. I won't let silence sit there if my future is involved. I will take control if I have to. I don't like to though. I'll make suggestions.
Again, notice how everybody is staying quiet except me. Not to toot my own horn or anything, I'm just as confused as everybody else in the group, but I'm at least trying to communicate, trying to move traffic along, or give some sort of general orders. I'm new to this guild, I don't know how they operate, and I'm not the guild leader. So I should not be the one being elected as the new guy to direct traffic or to call out orders. But notice how everybody is staying silent and everybody is still heavy focused, but we are still very unorganized.
Oh my god, dude, I suck.
So I wouldn't recommend fighting the bandit leader on your own unless you're fully confident in your parrying ability and your armor and gear, unlike our friend here who was not. Now that the group has came and conquered the Tintrum sewers, it's time to make their way out. Be sure when venturing anywhere in the world you bring proper supplies. This includes food, bandages, health potions, campfires, armor, weapons, pet bags, if you're not in a large group, and a torch. anything else you might need to be fully prepared for any situation. It's often wise to bring a bow with a few hundred arrows so that you can properly lure the mobs away from their group and take them on one at a time and control the spawn rate in each room so that your party can take proper breaks and fix their gray bar. All in all, I would give this dungeon a 3.5 or a 4, just due to the chances that you would run into PvP. Well, that's going to just about do it for this entry into the compendium, and I hope you can walk away with some useful tips. If you have any tips that you would like new players to know about, or if you just want. Hello to whoever finds this journal.
Oops.
Hello to whoever finds this journal. My days in Maryland have. This video is paid in part by Multi-Mogman, and only possible thanks to everyone's positive.
Thank you for all the time. Thank you for thank you for the excellent
content
content from a streamer. I'd like to sub to your channel.
Journal. My days in Maryland have been rewarding as they are troublesome, and as often dangerous. I have spent the last 6 years assembling my notes in hopes the knowledge I have gained over the time spent in this world to bring good fortune to whoever finds this, and to help them get a better understanding of the world they are about to enter. My intent is to create a compendium of how the world works, what it has to offer, and how you can survive and prosper. There are times I feel my work will only serve more confusion about what I found, but I also felt it necessary to compose my ideas and experience to illuminate a path to those who wish to explore. Contained within are recipes, survival tips, warnings, and more, all in an effort to promote safe travels and an overall awareness of the world you are entering. There will be times when you will be tested in ways this compendium can either prepare you for or help you from. Your choices as a player and a guild may lead to swift and unprecedented consequences. I believe this to be the ultimate guide for survival and success. Welcome to Mortal Online 2. You know that saying, you have to spend money to make money? The age-old questions from when first starting out in life, trying to figure out the catch-22 when breaking into adulthood. I can't get a car without money, but I can't get money without a car. The riddle that stumps our young minds. Well, when you solve it, let me know down in the comments. But because starting out in Mortal is really no different than starting out as an adult,
Check.
this question once again, I have a few pieces to the puzzle that may or may not help. Really, there isn't a get quick rich scheme in this game, unless you scam people, of course. In the game, it's totally up to you, and probably
Check.
if you want to ruin your reputation like that. But really, it takes time and know-how and a lot of grinding. Sure, you can join a guild and have
Check.
appreciating or knowing its true value of being earned, throwing equipment and gear away because you can just be handed another, and not worry about the time invested into making it or the hours spent gathering materials to be able to afford it. Honestly, that's probably the best and easiest start for most of us. But not you, right? That's why you're here, to earn your own money, to make your own way, not get caught up in the landscape of politics. You want to make your own adventure. You want to be your own made man. So, from earning your first bit of gold, to getting a horse and some armor, to investing your goods on the broker, or taking a less favored approach of becoming a highway bandit or bounty hunter, or even a murderer for hire, this field guide is on how to make money. We will be walking through from your first few days in the game to potentially running your own trades and play the brokers like a stock market, or establishing a common trade route that could be safe or unsafe depending on how you play. We're going to start from day one and move on from there, and try to keep the order from easiest least risk to harder more risk. This game is built on the foundation of risk over reward, so the more you risk, the more you can take. And trolling. It's also based on trolling.
We're on the top of the bank. You so bow down. Tell you what. Give us 3 gold. Come on, leprechaun. Give me that gold you owe me. I found you. Fucking leprechaun.
So I'll try to make this short and to the point. As always, helpful links are down in the description, and if you find this helpful or you need more help, like, comment, and subscribe. Let's begin. So let
I
me
have done
start
so.
off
Thank
by
you for the excellent content for my stream. I'd like to sub to your channel. Thank you, Bravado.
being completely honest. Your first possibly week or even 2 weeks in the game is going to be boring. You will be busy buying books, honing your character's skills, figuring out what you want to make of your life while picking flowers and gathering herbs like sea dew and other things from the beach and garden areas, slapping walkers with your stick, or just mining and wood cutting. It's going to be boring. Now, all of this does come with a risk, but these activities aren't at a very high risk. Granted, every time you leave a guarded area, it is a risk, which again can lead to big reward. But you're probably new if you're watching this, and you need equipment before you can chase after the good stuff. So, chopping whitewood outside of Meduli or mining granum or Sabura to sell on the broker will probably be your best bet at making your first few gold. If you find a horse and if you can find work with a direct buyer, that's even better because you would be able to haul more and gather more, or find somebody desperate for those materials and pay you a bit more than a broker's price. However, I won't lie, your first bit of options is going to be tedious and boring. There's no other way to say it, and there's no other way around it. So if you are without a silver to your name, fresh first day in the game, picking a spawn location is going to be the most important part. This is not a town guide. One day we will do that, but depending on where you decide to start your journey is important. Most fresh players to the game that don't really have friends or prior contacts often find themselves living in Meduli, Faberdom, Tindrum, and Morinkur. These towns are the most densely populated and have the best resources close by and easily available, or at very least, readily available. So I think a good place to start this guide will be to talk a bit about the broker and how to use it. Find the nearby bank in your selected city and find an NPC called the broker, or trade broker. So we're going to open this guy up. Here we have 3 tabs. We have browser market, buy orders, and my market.
See
I
what
have
I
nothing
have
on
for
my
you.
market, but for some reason it's marked new items.
Now the
So
UI is
something
way
might have
bigger,
sold.
which I
We'll get to
like.
that.
It's easier to
So
see.
when you want to buy something, you will go to browse market. Right
29
here,
silver
you'll
with the
have
Vicar, that's
a
cool.
drop down
Thank you.
list. It will show you every town in the game, or you can hit any broker and
Welcome
it'll
back.
show
Anytime.
you every town on the list that has items. So normally you want to find the town that you're in and then search for the item or resource that you're looking to sell items. So you on my market, but for some reason it's marked new items, so I think available. So I think a good place to start this guide will be to talk a bit about the broker and how to use it. Find the nearby bank in your selected city and find an NPC called the broker, or trade broker. So we're going to open this guy up. Here we have 3 tabs. We have browser market, buy orders, and my market. I have nothing on my market, but for some reason it's marked new items, so I think something might have sold. We'll get to that. So when you want to buy something, you will go to browse market. Right here, you will have a drop-down list. It will show you every town in the game, or you can hit any broker and it will show you every town on the list that has items. So normally you want to find the town that you're in and then search for the item or resource that you're looking to buy. But what we're going to be mostly focused on is the buy order tab. It works the same way as the browser market, only this is how you sell items. So you want to check this normally about every time you go out. From here you can scroll through and look to see what people are buying and what you can offer them. So we have Springbok Carcass for 1 gold for every 10,000. So as you see, it doesn't really say a gold, but it says a cuprum. So that is 1 cuprum per unit. 10,000 cuprum equals 1 gold. If we go to up here, the Niter Worker Carcass, this is 3 cuprum per unit, or 3 gold for 10,000. And this is kind of what you're going to check to figure out what to go hunt or what to go gather. You can sort these items from looking under here. So if you want to say go chop wood, you can just type wood, and then you'll see what people are buying as far as wood go. Or if you want to go farm rocks, you could go to items. No? Goods? Yeah, you can go to goods, go to ore piles, and then figure out what materials are around you or what you want to go mine and what people are buying as far as that goes as well. Resources are going to have your carcass, your wood, your raw material, and I believe, yeah, food as well. Raw material as far as food. So this is the resource, and the ore piles are mostly where you're going to be hanging out, looking for an activity to do to earn yourself some money. So again, check this every day or every time you find yourself short on some gold, and you will always find something worth buying, sometimes even at an inflated price. Again, I've said this across multiple videos. Some things, certain resources or certain materials sell for more in certain areas. So let's start with the easy stuff. Gathering. Gathering plants, wood, and stone are valued mostly by alchemists, refiners, and other crafters. The main thing to remember when gathering is the further you have to transport something, the more people will pay for it. I say this a lot in most of my videos. You will find some of the best and rare plants in the southern hemisphere, near or in the jungle. Some plants even going for hundreds of gold per stack. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, you don't even own a horse yet. So Cedu grows along the beach of Meduli. This is one of the most sought after plants for alchemists due to its health properties and potions. By running north along the beach next to the ocean, you will find this plant fairly easily. This plant sells on the broker for 1 gold per stack to 170 gold per stack, which is 10,000, and if no one else has picked any, you should get roughly 2,000 per run, which is awesome because you can make a good chunk of change doing this. Picking Sea-Doo is one of the best ways to make money when you're new and without items. And you could spend this on different books or even a horse. If you find yourself in Tindrum, run to the gardens and pick purple, white, and red flowers. There's a video about this that says you can make 60 gold per hour, and he broke down the rates of gathered materials of selling to the vendor, which is insane to say the least for flower picking, but I respect the dedication of the player base for taking deep dives into these methods, so credit where credit is due. But yes, gather as much as you can find in the gardens, then find the nearest vendor and sell it off. You may have to do this a couple of times, and it is very boring, but it is no doubt effective. Also, you could always check the broker to see if anybody are looking for these flowers, but probably not. At very least, if you get too brain dead and are on the brink of death by boredom, take some of those coins you've earned and buy yourself some pickaxes and wood cutting axes. 2 to 3 will get you a bit over a stack of rock or wood, and they are 5 silver each from the equipment vendor. Even if you don't have a horse, you can still gather wood and stone. To reference the mining guide that I just released a couple of weeks ago, when gathering these materials, keep an eye on your character's carrying weight, as the more you hold, the slower you move, the more stamina you waste, and the easier you are to kill. In Tindrum Gardens, you can find separate nodes of granum in the upper gardens. This sells for 8 to 1 gold. At 10,000 units of stone is pretty quick to gather. This will also be a pain at separate nodes of granite carrying weight a couple of weeks ago. When gathering these materials, keep an eye on your character's carrying weight, as the more you hold, the slower you move, the more stamina you waste, and the easier you are to kill. In Tindrum Gardens, you can find separate nodes of granum in the upper gardens. This sells for 8 to 1 gold. At 10,000 units of stone is pretty quick to gather. This will also be a pain as you don't have a horse, and depending on your race and your strength, you will have to make multiple trips to the bank or broker. There is also gray wood outside of the gates of Tindrum. This wood goes for around 25 gold a stack, but is a bit more dangerous to gather as you won't be protected by guards, and you'll have local wildlife and bandits to also worry about. But it is at least worth more than granite. Heading to the south to Meduli, if you find yourself here and are dying of sun poisoning, walking on the beach all day and night, no, this isn't really a thing yet. You can start chopping whitewood. This goes for around 8 to 10 gold a stack, or mine Sabura. This is like granum as far as the market price goes and will sell for around a gold a stack. However, the reason why rocks sell for less than wood is because rocks can be processed for byproducts. And if you break these rocks down, you will get more valuable items to sell for more profit. check my mining guide on how to process rocks into what you are looking for. I know I haven't touched much on Fabridom yet. I'm not sure of all the plant life that's around the area, but that's not to say that gathering isn't valued in the area. But it's not the main focus of the city. Fabridom Fabridom is more known for its scoundrel dungeons and mining. In the area around the river that flows from the mountains, you will find Calyx, which sells for roughly 1 to 8 gold, a bit more than Granum. Granum is freaking everywhere, which is another reason that it's so cheap. But also from the river closer to the mountains, you will find purified water. I'm not so sure if purified water is a specific reagent for magic, but it does hold value mostly for alchemists and cooks. But the point being, in this town, mining and extracting locally is the name of the game. Heading south-southeast, you will find the Colored Forest and Dapplewood. There's also a mongrel horse spawned here, but also aggressive mobs like razorbacks, wolves, and belbus. Dapplewood sells for around 10 to 12 gold a stack. I would recommend obtaining a horse before you're going after this wood, but if you don't mind a walk, this is the most lucrative resource. Once you've gathered enough to buy your first horse, lower levels are generally cheaper than higher levels. They can be bought anywhere from around 6 to 30 gold, normally. You should also buy the cheapest set of bags you can find and repeat the gathering process, as this will greatly increase your carrying capacity and overall profits. This section is probably the most boring thing you can do in the game, and in around 6 to 30 gold. Norm. You've gathered enough to buy your first horse. Lower levels are generally cheaper than higher levels. They can be bought anywhere from around 6 to 30 gold, normally. You should also buy the cheapest set of bags you can find and repeat the gathering process, as this will greatly increase your carrying capacity and overall profits. This section is probably the most boring thing you can do in the game, objectively, of course, but sometimes it really does pay to slow down, stop, and smell the flowers. Just take in the sights and sounds of nature and appreciate such a world exists and you are walking in it. Moving on to the combat side of things, the graveyard is going to be your home while learning to fight and training your skills. This is the first place any veteran player will tell a new player to go. It is a dreadful place, full of death, because, it's a graveyard. But your first few days slaughtering in the graveyard will in no doubt get old quickly. Graveyard fighting can very well be dangerous, though. Oftentimes you will find graveyard hoodlums there to kill new players, grave robbers if you will. The graveyard I see this most in personally is Fabridom. Meduli has its fair share of trolls that will stand on the rock outside the graveyard and shoot your horse. I have no personal experience inside Tindrum Graveyard. The point being is, as boring as it is to kill zombies, it can also be very dangerous. There are no guards inside the graveyards, but guards are normally nearby the graveyard. I would avoid bringing any mounts into the graveyard. 10 walker heads will be worth about 1 gold, so to help earn a little extra, pick up the heads, silver, and any random valuables you find, and their bodies. Field butcher their bodies, as this will give you extra raw materials to vendor, but be cautious and keep an eye on your carrying weight. If you get too heavy, you won't be able to move. After a while, this will get boring and only raise your earn for adventures, so if you made some friends by now or are feeling brave, you can move on to fighting scoundrels. Scoundrel heads sell for roughly the same as a bandit head, maybe a couple tens of silver off from each other, and are easier to fight. But because the value of the head and loot drops raise, so does the risk. You can mostly find scoundrels in Tindrum and Fabridom sewers. Also outside of Fabridom, follow the road southeast, and pressed against the hill is a set of stairs leading to a scoundrel point of interest. Be cautious, as there is 5 or 6 scoundrels and 3 bandit types here. Bring a healer or a couple of friends. This is an excellent POI to find some valuables if no one has beat you to it. Much like the graveyard, I would not risk bringing a mount pet into the sewers. The risk of PvP is greatly increased. You do not need to pick up the bodies. I would personally focus on just picking up the heads. I would not go alone. Each head is around 40 silver, so 10 heads is roughly 4 gold. With a group of around 5 friends, you may even be able to run full dungeons and pull out even more lucrative commodities. Remember, the name of the game is money, risk over reward. Hunting and fishing in this game can be incredibly profitable. Fishing mostly more valued than hunting, but hunting
That's
gives
good.
resources in abundance, whereas fishing is valued in a specific type of fish or fish
Aggro.
resource, like meat and scales. Most popular fishing locations are Toxai, Meduli, and the Great Sausage Lake in the center of the map. Also, the north of the mountains and jungles, but as this is an introductory guide, I don't want to talk much about these locations. Fish to look out for are bloodkua, crabs, sand, and silk rays. Fishing can also lead to rare trinkets such as amulets and rings. Fishing is
Ooh.
also an incredibly deep system,
Ooh.
ranging from time of day to weather to salt and fresh water and so much more. Squirrely 711 on YouTube and Twitch has excellent guides to fishing, links down below, and I highly recommend checking out his guides and live streams. We will also be doing fishing guides in the future, but nowhere near as in depth as this creator dives into it. After slaying zombies and fending off scoundrels, you may have enough for a horse, horse bags, and some decent farming armor. Most armor crafters will sell what we call farming armor, cheaply or even just give it away. Once equipped and suited, you will be finally ready for your first proper adventure into the world. This is the part of the guide we move out of the cities and into the world. In this section, we are going to talk about points of interest. It's going to be a fairly short section, but in the world consists of a variety of things, from bandit to riser camps to abandoned cottages and forts. In these sites, you can find rare books, rare trinkets, money, gems, and other various treasures. These locations are typically guarded by some sort of threat, be it bandits, scoundrels, rats, cougars, or even some players. The way world looting in this game works is if you find an urn, barrel, dead body, or a chest at any of these sites, the longer the lootable item remains untouched as time goes on, the more value the loot it generates. So if a barrel was looted just a few minutes before you arrived, it will either be empty or have one silver coin, maybe some bread. But if you are the first to a lootable item, it can hold potentially invaluable rare loot. In MMO1, you could even find a house deed in some of these containers. I'm not sure if that's still in this game or not, but the point is you can find valuable items. You can find these points of interest scattered throughout the world. Ones that are nearby towns are often regularly looted and normally don't have much. However, it never hurts to actually check. Others can be hard to spot sometimes, being found in the side of a mountain disguised as a spider cave or hidden away in a forest or against even some mountains and hills. By the time you are able to discover these, you should be well equipped and well off. Good horse, good armor, good weapons, and good friends. One of the most sought after POIs is the Necromancer points of interest. They drop rare reagents for, well, necromancers. Dropping necromancer blood, ritual ashes, and various other loot, there are often chests and urns with valuables in them as well. But those are simply not the main appeal of Necromancer. They drop it well off. Good horse, good armor, good weapons, and good friends. One of the most sought after POIs is the Necromancer points of interest. They drop rare reagents for, well, necromancers. Dropping necromancer blood, ritual ashes, and various other loot, there are often chests and urns with valuables in them as well. But those are simply not the main appeal of these sites, and they are often contested by other groups. Regular points of interest, though, can still be dangerous, some consisting of an entire squad of bandits, and can take some time thinking and tact to completing by yourself. Others may be guarded by a pack of direwolves or a pair of cougars. I have a theory that some of the animals or spawns that guard the points of interest have some form of buff added to them to make them a little harder to kill, or I could be paranoid and they've just been left in the world so long that they reached max level. Either way, points of interest that aren't close to towns are often passed up by adventurers and not looked twice at. I'll be honest though, while recording for this segment, I looted some known, probably popular points of interest that I know of, and walked away with about 15 gold after an hour. It's a good price and a fun time, but I would not call it a meta to get rich quick. But I had a lot of fun doing it, and sometimes that's all that really matters. But risk over reward, this is a high risk and meh reward. I will end this section with talking about the random encounters you will come across in the world: bandits, outlaws, undead bandits. They will often spawn during your travels and take you by surprise. These are actually often dangerous and, if unexpected, can be very deadly. They spawn in a range group of roughly 3 to 5. These are often ignored by adventurers, and I'm not sure if their loot works the same way as a lootable or if they level up like a cougar would, you know, getting older over time. It could work the same, but I'm just not so certain. However, what I do know is that they are often valuable. They give great clade XP and great loot. You can often find gems, trinkets, coins, as well as their heads. Bandits and outlaws share the same value for their heads, and undead bandits share the same value as a walker's head. But if you feel that you can take on a group alone, or if you are with a group of friends, I feel like they should not be passed up. If you can risk fighting them, obviously don't go out of your way if you're transporting goods, as things can go wrong pretty quick. But if you don't have anything to lose, they are probably more valuable than normal points of interest. Let me know your thoughts. This is going to be the last topic I'll speak on for this video. The script is already upwards of 4,000 words and around 30 paragraphs. In every one of my videos so far, including this one, I keep mentioning how things in one area sell more for in other areas. Like, the further you have to carry something, the more it sells for. So far, we've been keeping topics pretty localized. But if you made it this far, then you should be in a place where you gain stability in an area and are living pretty comfortably. And also, thank you for making it this far. It's without a doubt one of the best ways to make money in this game is transporting commodities, such as books, raw materials, rare items, and even food. The trick to transporting is very interesting and honestly takes a little bit of time to learn. The reason I say it is interesting is because this game creates something unique with its tight community of players, all being on a single server. It's no secret that danger can lurk around every hilltop, tree, or city corner. But learning where each town is, say you want to carry a certain fish or book from Maduli to Baki to put on the burger, not only do you have to find the best route to take, but you also have to know who lives there, who are the locals, between what times of day are they mostly on and active, are they friendly, will they kill anyone that comes too close, what resources will sell well, what do they have in abundance that I can take elsewhere. All of this takes time, and to me is extremely unique for an online game. Each city, each guild of players, each region has their own form of culture and way of living. They do all rely on each other, but yet kill one another for the power and reputation. A good merchant can learn to avoid peak times to move their stash safely, learn the local politics and what the region is lacking in or in dire need of, what guilds are paying top dollar for what resource, and sometimes the hot commodity could be as simple as an extra body at their side, be it for espionage, spy work, to roughing up another player that owes someone a bit of money, or talking to an NPC and getting a bounty hunting contract. More of this in another guide. Or cutting off a supply route from another army, or a hired sword or healer for an adventure. Talk to people, explore, learn about the locals, and watch the broker market. Every time there is a discussion on the development team, Twitch chat, the forums, Reddit, or in-game conversation, for some reason, World of Warcraft keeps getting brought up. I'm sure at this point it's just a meme, but Mortal Online offers a significant and unique experience like no other game can provide. Unlike WoW and its millions of other clones, this game has a soul. It has a world that people passionately and truly care about. It has a history that is player-made and player-earned. I have never seen a game as truly unique as this one. Elder Scrolls Online is one that comes to mind, but Elder Scrolls doesn't have hardcore open world loot, PvP, and territory control that I know of, and has millions of players, which sucks the soul out of the game and leaves the player feeling meaningless. Dark and Darker is another good comparison, however, it lacks the open world experience and MMO experience. This game is a place where you can truly build a reputation for yourself and the ones you decide to represent by getting involved with other players. From being a highway robber and stealing your riches, becoming a tamer and finding horses or battle pets to sell in distant towns, or to be a hero and earn your money from looting dungeons, hunting animals, protecting and escorting another player, to finding odd jobs or quests from other guilds and players looking for help to do their own task. There's so much opportunity in this game that throws the player in a sandbox and simply says, build your own adventure. It often leaves the player clueless and stuck in a position where they have no direction on how to get out of, asking themselves that age-old question, how do I get money without a car? I'm Bravado. Thank you for watching.
It'd be fun to kill a guy, take his horse, but I can't do that in the fucking the graveyard. Finding spiders sucks. Did I get them yet? Oh, I did. Nice. Alright, let's walk in one direction here. Can't tell if I like 11 or 12, Dex 11 or DX 12 better. 11 seems to be more smooth. But it doesn't look as good at all. So I'm going to log out and change it. Oh yeah, never mind. If I can go to a safe area here, that's fine. Log out there. Domestication 80. Nice. What do you mean unsafe area? I'm in the city. What are you talking about? There you go. I like stealth walking. It won't get you very far, but that's good, you know. It's frankly a lot safer. It's slow, it's methodical, it doesn't really throw you off cliffs, you know. At least not yet. I won't do this in any kind of verticality zone. This whole entire place is all flat land, basically. There's no... Like Manethel, I wouldn't really worry about. Well, I guess, yeah. Later on, it becomes way too dangerous to auto-run, but I mean, not until like level 30 or something, like halfway through the run. Right now, I can enjoy it. Later on, I'll just have to park. But that's okay. I like the feeling of being this, like, ghost. I feel like a ghost. Half the time, I'm not even, like, visible to my own faction. And I actually really like being a ghost. I am a ghost now, essentially. I don't really have any dealings with the modern man anymore. I don't really... I do in terms of business and stuff, but I don't in terms of like personal. And so I've never minded the ghost thing. Like, you know, the first time I ever used the name, well, Skycat was in Final Fantasy 11, but then I took it to my rogue, and I named my rogue my Final Fantasy 11 character. And I still have that rogue, and she's like really beautiful. And she has so much transmog and so much money, and she's maxed out everything. Well, she's not max level, but you know. And I like her a lot. But I like this rogue more because this rogue, she's already had like five to 7 past lives, but she keeps making herself more and more rich, like a good rogue, and eventually. I'll just have like such good like if I just keep grinding like this, even if the deaths do happen, the money will come to the point where I'll just like be able to just face tank 2 mobs. I mean, you can't do it that long, but I'm learning not to stand up from the keyboard unless she's stealth, you know. I don't even have Shadow Meld on my bar, and I definitely should. Yep, I just Shadow Meld all the time. Yep. There it is. Until I get vanish anyways, and then I'll put it on Control F after that. Alright, this was incredibly slow. I don't know why I'm walking this fucking slow, but... Oh no, I'm not done with Dolinar at all, though. Let's relaunch Mortal and see what else. Oh yeah, that was a good guide on Prosperity Beast. So what else does he have? Yeah, let's look at his channel. I like this guy. He's informative. Dungeoneering, Dendrology. Oh, good. He's got tons of stuff. Like great. A Foot Fighter's Guide. I think I was like listening to that one. That one got a lot of views. Dendrology.
Hello to whoever finds this journal. My days in Maryland have
It's
been
so
rewarding as
hokey.
they are troublesome, and as
It's
often
better than what I'm
dangerous.
doing. I
I've spent
think.
the last 6
I don't know.
years assembling
I have like
notes in hopes that
900
I can
videos or something. I don't know. I don't know if it's better than what I'm doing. We'll see. I know I'm a slow, long grind, but I mean, like in the end, it'll pay out. When I have 100,000 videos, I'm sure it'll pay.
There are times I feel my work will only serve more confusion about what I found, but I also felt it necessary to compose my ideas and experience to illuminate a path to those who wish to explore. Contained within are recipes, survival tips, warnings, and more, all in an effort to promote safe travels and an overall awareness of the world you are entering. There will be times when you will be tested in ways this compendium can either prepare you for or help you from. Your choices as a player and a game will lead to strict and unprecedented consequences. I believe this to be the ultimate guide for survival and success. Welcome to Mortal Online 2.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
So let's start off by talking about dendrology. You know, wood. Softwood, hardwood, your wood, my wood. What is wood? Why is this madman talking about trees? Dendrology is the study of trees, and it is a sub-skill of botany. What that means is botany is a parent skill to dendrology. Your dendrology level will never go higher than your botany level, but that's okay because they both level pretty much at the same rate. Advanced dendrology, however, is a sub-skill of dendrology, making dendrology the parent skill of advanced dendrology, meaning your advanced dendrology will never go higher than your dendrology skill, and your dendrology skill must be 70 before you can move on to advanced dendrology. You can find the botany and dendrology books in all town. However, the advanced dendrology books...
Dendrology. Bless you. Thank you. Yeah. I think I'm sick, but when I was younger, when I was like 30... my best friend and I caught what he thought was the swine flu. I thought was just the worst flu I've ever had in my life. And it dragged on for 4 weeks, and we were puking sick every day, couldn't move, and just totally sick and phlegmy and just wasted out. And eventually, I shit you not, I got so depressed that we had been sick for so long and stuck in the house for so long that I was like, I'm going to order some fresh water. And I was like, I think the water is tainted. And I ordered fresh water, and we immediately got better. Like, better overnight. And so, he thought something crazier than me. He was really convinced we had swine flu. But I was really convinced that it was something in the water, because pretty much overnight when I had them send us Deep Rock water, I was like, send us water. I'll pay you $30. Here you go. $30. Bring me water. And they brought me like 2 gallons of water or something like that. It was such a ripoff. Or it was more than that. It was like 10 gallons of water or something. I forget, but big, Deep Rock bottles of water. And we switched up and we lived off that for 2 days, and it was gone. It was like overnight. It was done. Now, that probably was a coincidence, I think. It might have just been a coincidence. It had been a month of sickness, but we were, like, much better suddenly the minute we got off the tap water. And he never went back to tap water after that. I did, though. I drank the Denver tap water for many, many years after that. I wasn't afraid of it, and I haven't had any issues with it since. But, okay, since we got whatever he thought was the swine flu, I don't get sick. I haven't. You'll see it. Like if you watch my stream forever, you'll understand. I don't get sick. I don't like. I'm like, oh, I got COVID last year and hospital-induced pneumonia, but those are infections. The oh yeah, Icelandic. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's a good way to do it. Yeah. And yeah, and so. Best brand of water. There you go. Yeah. Yep. Icelandic water. That sounds amazing. That sounds like a good way to do it. Yeah. So, well, right now I drink Pure Life, which is like this stuff. It's right here. It's like $1.19, I think. $1.28, I think, something like that. And it's pretty good. It's really good. It's recycled, and it's you know, or not. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's recycled. The things are recyclable and all this. So it's and also like I have good tap water, but we run a hose for my tap water, and the hose is a whole different deal. So, anyways, what was I gonna say? I was going to fire this client up. Yeah, I want DX12 this time. Yep. Am I stealth? No. And so ever since we got what he thought was the swine flu, now he kept getting sick every year, but I didn't. And I think a combination of that swine flu... Yeah. It's a solid brand. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah. Yep. And, yeah. And so, yeah, the swine flu, like, was on his mind, but he was fine afterwards. He had no issues with it. But I have not got a cold since then. And you'll understand. Now, I'll feel under the weather sometimes like this, where, like... I'm sneezing and I'm allergic to something in the air, and I'm experiencing nasal issues because they have me on a CPAP machine because I stopped breathing in my sleep. And I don't snore. They know that because they've done sleep studies and stuff. I don't snore. I just straight up stop breathing. I breathe so little when I'm sleeping that they worry that I'll die because my oxygen gets deprived. So they put me on a CPAP machine, and and so that causes me to sneeze. And that's the main issue. It's why I'm sneezing so much right now is the CPAP machine forces air up your nostrils when you're sleeping and stuff. It's so annoying, but it works. And I'd rather use it because if I don't, I'm scared of them like having an issue with the insurance or something like that. And I'm on disability, so I'm receiving all this help from the government, and I don't question the doctors when they tell me something. I'm receiving so much help from them that just when they want me to, like, the CPAP machine was not my idea. It was theirs. They were like, yeah, like most fat people, they snore so bad when they sleep that they can die. But they were like, they were like, it's good that that's, and they're like, you got very positive news in the respect that you don't have like most nasal issues that fat people have, and you don't snore, but you do breathe very, very raggedly and kind of out of like sync, and you stop breathing a lot. And I was like, yeah, I think that's psychological because all my life I'm still doing it. I'm doing it right now. I hold in my belly when I, like, all my life I've held in my belly because I'm fat. I wasn't fat my whole life, but past the age of like 24, I held in my belly. And so then, you know, and now I do it even when I'm sleeping. And I think that's what they're experiencing is they're seeing me when I'm dreaming, I'm holding in my belly because I've done it my whole life, you know? And I think when even when I'm dreaming, I'm doing it because it's psychological, and I think it causes me to stop breathing when I'm sleeping. And they were like, that's actually feasible, but it's also probably something you shouldn't focus on. They were like, that actually might be feasible. The doctor was like amenable to it. They were like, yeah, I don't like your theory, but they were like, it could be something crazy like that. They were like, we are closed-minded to that. But they were like, if you feel that's that's what it is, you should get a CPAP machine because you will cease breathing when you're sleeping. And I believe that is how I'll go. Because, and I've talked about this on the stream before, that's probably how I'll go, is I'll probably cease breathing when I'm sleeping because I was so ashamed of being overweight when from the ages of like 24 until I wasn't fat my whole life until I was like 24. I wasn't fat till I was like 24 or 25. And then I wasn't very bad fat till I was like 34 or something like that. I was overweight. I was like 280 pounds when I was 25. I used to be about 200 to 240, somewhere around there. And then I just got up to like 280, 300 around there when I was like 34. And I stayed that way for the last 6 years. And now I'm losing the weight. I'm down. I don't know what I'm at. 328 at the most, I think, something like that. So I've lost quite a bit of the weight, and I'm trying to like lose another 50 pounds as we go. Been on a pretty good diet, and today I went out for walk for an hour, and so like it's weird, the psychological thing. And the doctor frowned, but she was like, I think you might be right. I was like, listen to me if I phrase it to you like this. I think it's psychological, right? I told her this. I was like, tell me if I sound crazy, and I'll even see a psychiatrist over this. I was like, for the last like 16 years, I've sucked in my belly my entire life. In all of my waking hours, I suck my belly in, even when nobody's around. It's just something I taught myself to do. And I told her, I was like, don't you think that maybe eventually the fear I had of being a fat person eventually might put me in the ground? And she was like, yes, that's why you should have a CPAP machine. And I was like, okay. She was like, yes, you psychologically might be sucking in your belly when you're sleeping and you're dreaming. She was like, I don't see why that isn't feasible, actually. And she was like, yeah, you might have a better sus on it than me, but I don't know. She didn't like my theory, but she was like, either way, you should do the CPAP machine because you don't want to die in your fucking sleep. And I was like, okay. She was like, you should be happy. Most people I subscribe the CPAP machine to, they are morbidly obese and they snore too much and it disturbs their significant others and they have airway passage blockage and all this. And she was like, you have something special. Your tongue's bigger than most people's tongues are. See it? Fucking huge. Fucking huge tongue. Just huge. And she was like, that blocks your airway passages. And she was like, you're not a normal fat person. You don't overeat. Your cholesterol levels are normal. Your carbs are okay. She's like, you don't have the problems of a fat person. You have the problems of an inactive person. That's something we can agree on. And she was like, I can't agree with some theory, but she was like, I can see what you're saying, though. I can see you psychologically maybe sucking your belly in while you're dreaming. And she was like, I don't see why that couldn't be a possibility. And she was like, either way, you have to use the CPAP machine. So I do, and it shoves this nasal air up your fucking passage, and that causes me to sneeze. And so I haven't been sick with a cold in years. What happens to me is I get the sniffles. That's it. I haven't puked sick from a flu since, it's been 10 years, I think. No, a little bit longer. Like, I think it was like 11 years, something like that. I haven't been sick from the flu. I haven't been sick with a flu or a cold in 11 years. And you'll see it over the next 5 or 10 years. You're going to see it. Like, fucking, like, I still won't. So whatever that disease we got over was, it made my immune system so fucking strong that the average, like COVID, I did catch COVID and I was surprised by it. But but my system's so strong, I don't believe I can catch the normal, the normal flu. Like, something happened when I was younger. Something made me so sick. We were so sick, sicker than I've ever been in my whole life. It was like close to death. It was not normal. It's not. I'm not exaggerating. It was like 30 days of the worst time I've ever had in my life. And we were constrained because we thought it might be deadly. The doctors were like, don't leave the house, It was bad. We were on like strong antibiotics, and they were worried about us. My best friend was sickly anyways because he had stomach parasites earlier in his life, and like, and so now, oh, and on top of that also, for like 13 years of my life, I was a methamphetamine addict, and that stuff is pseudoephedrine, which is also an extremely strong like deterrent for like cold, the common cold and the flu. Is why they give like ephedrine's what they give you for the for the cold and the flu. And methamphetamine is ephedrine. I mean, that's where it comes from. It's ephedrine. It's a very strong chemical. And so years and years of methamphetamine abuse also pretty much shielded me from getting sick for so long that my system is now like this amalgamated, stronger fucking like sickness doesn't happen to me after that, because I think I was meant to die and I didn't. And whatever that was, I don't know what it was. I don't know what that flu was, but it wasn't normal. We definitely have been much, much stronger immune wise. My best friend would get sick onto death because he had stomach worms that he caught in India, and that stuff, that wrecked his life, and I won't go into it because it's too personal. But after that though, so he would get very sick all year. He would get very sick from anything that he, like anybody he would come across. If they had a cold or a flu, he would just pick it up immediately. His system was not good, and I mean his immune system was not good after the stomach parasites that he had to get over. And they almost killed him. The stomach parasites almost killed his family. His entire family got stomach parasites in India. And it almost killed his entire family. It did kill his father. And rest in peace. And, just really bad. And so we were really scared when he got that flu with me. That was just fucking crazy. Like, we were, like, he went to the doctor like 6 times. Like, it was so bad. It was so bad. Like, I went to the doctor twice. And now, like, I live in kind of mortal fear of a flu that's gonna be stronger than whatever my immune system is now, because I haven't been sick in 10 years, and I have a paranoid, almost like lunatic fringe fear of this. I didn't fear COVID. I fear the flu. Because I haven't caught the flu in 12 years. I got the flu regularly once a year all my fucking life, right? Oh no, I could die here. I don't know. I better just run the evasion on fucking, just on principle. Yeah, this could be bad. Okay, you got me low, but you only hit for like 10. I'm gonna kill you. It's okay. Oh god. Yeah, she can't kill me, right? Yeah, no. Okay. I don't have food. How do I not have food? That just does not seem right. Whatever. Well, I sent it all for sale. Yeah, that's right. That was fun. At least I didn't have to potion, though I did evasion. Okay. So I'm super scared of anything new. COVID, I wasn't worried about. I was like, I don't feel like my immune system had anything to do with a novel virus. I think I got some fucked up version of the swine flu. I've never had a rhinovirus last 30 fucking days like that. It was like, it was fucked up. Like, my best friend would say the same thing. I know he will. He saw the same thing. Remember that time we got sick for an entire fucking month? And I changed the water? You know what I'm saying? I changed the fucking water. Yeah, like, and it ended. It just ended. I think they were piping it in through the fucking tap water. I still think that. And he was like, that's a bit extreme. And I was like, I know it is, but I still feel like the minute we got off that tap water, it was fine. It was fine. It was like over immediately. It was like something to do. It must have been the pipes. We must have had something in the pipes. It must have been a local infection of something in the pipes, That to me seems like way less of a stretch than like something to do with like a crazy rhinovirus like the swine flu. I don't know about that. That one bothers me, but like maybe something was in the pipes. Yeah, that could be it. I would say that's far more likely, I would say.
But can only be bought either at the jungle camp or in
So that's all I have to say
at
about
the
this. So
Woods
yeah,
or
so
the library.
so between the CPAP machine and the fact that I have a cold because it's been cold here, I have a cold and I've been walking in the cold. You know, like every day, like today I walked for in the cold. It was like I don't know 58, and I walked in the cold for an hour, with no jacket or anything. And I like caught a cold in the last week and I was like feeling under the weather, but the worst that it gets is sneezing and sniffles. That's it. That's the worst it gets. It's never like I have a runny nose, even ever. It's on like hear it. I don't have a runny nose at all. No congestion at all. No runny nose. Nothing. I'm nasal because I talk all day, but I mean like I don't have any congestion and you can. But I mean I have a cold right now, but my system's so strong that the worst symptoms I ever get is like fucking sniffles and sneezing. And so between the CPAP machine and this and the fucking cold I have that's like mitigated by my fucking system, like I constantly sneeze because it's the worst that the cold gets is sneezing. That's it.
Aggro.
I have a cold. But usually like real colds, you get like super congested and you go through like boxes of like Kleenex and you're laid out and you're like you're all congested and stuff. I don't have any of that, like at all. I don't have any. I'm totally fine. No congestion whatsoever. So like, it's just kind of funny. Like, but I do have the sneezing. I've been sneezing like all day. I've been sneezing for like the 4 days that I've had the cold. And that's the worst that the cold gets is sneezing, which is so weird because most of my life until I was like 28, when I got a cold, I was laid up in bed and I was like sneezy and congested and I couldn't move and I had a headache and stuff. But I haven't had that in fucking 11 years and it scares me. It's very weird to go from like a 28-year norm to no disease at all, pretty much, except for like COVID. That's it. And now so I'm scared of the next one. I've been scared. I tell my mom all the time, I'm scared of the next one. And she's like, I know. Because I'm like, I think it could kill me. I could die of 2 ways, I think. Dying in my sleep or the next flu. Because the real next flu that gets through my system this time, it'll kill me. Because the last one almost did. So I don't know. It'll only be that one again, I think. Fucking crazy. It's like, Anyways, that's all I care to say about this now.
For 10 silver.
By the way, it's not dendrology. Dender. But then there's dendrology. Botany, dendrology, advanced dendrology. Okay. Oh, dendrology is a different word? Okay.
Online, but is also very overlooked and under.
I've heard that word, but
But wood can also be very profitable as people do not want to take the time to collect it themselves. Wood will also more likely than not be one of the first ways you start putting gold inside your bank. So in this woodcutter's guide, we are going to talk about the differences between softwood and hardwood, the general
I've got some
use of
hardwood.
and where to find
Never
specific
soft.
wood that you may be looking for your specific craft. Chopping trees can help raise the character.
Got some hardwood right now.
And can be
I'm
used
kidding.
in many, many different ways, from crafting to building and to trading to the right people. So what types of wood are there? Mortal Online has many types of wood, and each wood serves its own.
I've got many types of wood.
The types of wood
All
currently
types of
the
wood
game
in my
are
pants.
Sponge wood, gray wood, white wood, firm wood, dapple wood.
I've got some
brown
firm wood.
Black wood and iron wood. The wood yet to be added is stone wood and tappy wood. This chart isn't perfect, but it is an accurate, as I can tell through the experience in the game, to what wood is soft to what wood is hard. But what about tappy wood? Tappy wood is its own type of magic wood, or special wood, and we will not be talking about that in this guide. But if the community wishes, I can tell you what I know about its secrets and how to create it once it's available in the game. But this game is all about exploring, experimenting, learning things on your own to get ahead of other players and to make the same items as your competition better, more efficient, and cheaper to sell for higher profits on the broker. So you might be wondering, what woods are good for what you want to achieve? So, as I just stated, this game is about experimenting and trying new things. There are thousands, if not tens of thousands, of different combinations to every raw material and crafting skill in the game to create your desired product. So, instead of listing how to make or what you could make, use the scale to determine what might be good for what you want to craft. But I will give you some tips and advice to get you going in the right direction.
How may I
So
help?
let's further discuss the differences between softwoods and hardwoods. Softwoods are going to be lighter material, which means if you put it into a weapon, it's going to be faster to swing, but also have lower durability. Harder woods are going to be heavier, so if you put it into a weapon or a shield, it's going to swing slower but have more durability. Please note that my knowledge is from 6 years inside of Mortal Online 1, and the developers have changed the values and ingredients to help make the game more fresh for veteran players. So again, experiment. Spongewood is going to be your lightest yet softest wood. It can be found in the heartlands of Maryland in the center of the map, also in Warrenker and Toxai. It looks like a whitewood tree, but pay attention to what biome you're in and pay attention to the bark. The bark is going to be a lot smoother than the whitewood tree, and it does not grow in the desert. Greywood is slightly heavier than spongewood. It can be found in large quantities stretching from the ruins of Meduli up to Tindrum Gates and out toward Fad. Be careful when you're chopping these trees, as there is bandits, razorbacks, and wolves waiting to attack you from the shadows. PvP is also heavy in the Greywood Forest, as it is along the highway of the 3 towns, and there's a few horse spawns nearby. Whitewood is a medium density wood, mostly used for lighter shields and bows. Experimenting with weapons might be a good idea as well. They can be found mostly near Meduli and around the desert area. Firmwood is denser than whitewood, used again for shields and bows with the possibility of weapons. Now that the game has changed a little bit more, it can be found near Kurai villages such as Vada, Bodki, and Moki. They resemble pine trees and can also be located in the north. Dapplewood is one of the most versatile woods in the game. You can use it for weapon crafting and building, shield crafting. It's the happy medium of your wood. I personally use it for bow crafting. You can find Dapplewood in a place called the Colored Forest that's near the center of the map, just north of the Sausage Lake. It's easy to point out these types of trees as they have different colored leaves, and the bark has white with black spots. But be wary about the dangers that lurk in the colored forest, such as razorbacks, wolves, dire wolves, black bears, and there's a lot of housing in the areas, so PvP is also very prevalent, and there's even rumors of a troll that lurks in the forest. Brownwood is a super heavy, super dense wood. It's mostly used for building, and players often try to buy this wood. It may have found another purpose in MO2 since they changed a lot of things since MO1. So again, do some experimenting. You can find brownwood in the jungles of Maryland. They are the largest tree in the jungles. So let's move on to our first advanced wood, blackwood. Blackwood in MO1 was very exclusive to the jungle, and to this day I am still convinced that there is blackwood in the jungle. I haven't found it personally. I went on a 2-day excursion through the jungle specifically for this video, and I personally haven't found it, but I've heard rumors that it could be in the jungle. In fact, I found it between Warrenker and Toxai. It grows in groves between the 2 cities, and the tree is easily identifiable due to its black and dark bark and the primu fruit that grows on the tree. It's a type of mana fruit. So finally, let's move on to our last advanced wood, ironwood. Ironwood can be found in the colored forest, and when you stand just outside of render range and you can see the tops of the trees, you can identify these trees by the bluish green leaves that stand atop of the dapplewood trees, and then you can head in that direction and eventually find the tree. You can also identify this tree by the bluish green bark that you see inside this video. Again, I don't want to give any context clues or hints to what this wood is used for, but it is currently the most valuable wood, and people are constantly buying it. So do with that information what you will. So I didn't put any price tags on any of the wood discussed in the video because wood prices are constantly fluctuating from town to town, player to player. Generally, the further you have to carry wood, the more it's going to be valued. If you carry wood out of the jungle and take it to Bodki, it's not going to sell for as much as if you were to carry it to Tindrum. But as a closing statement, I hope that you've learned something a bit more about dendrology and the different types of wood and got a better understanding of what you want to craft with versus what you want to build
Aggro.
with. If you yourself are a crafter and want to share a recipe or two, or to just talk about what you use your wood for, leave us a comment down below. Or if you just want to promote your guild, that's okay too. But I'm Bravado, and thank you for watching.
Hello. Good luck, friend. Goddess watch over you.
Yay, new cloak. Oh, cool, you can? Like, I was having trouble with that earlier, but no, I guess not. Okay, now what? Follow current step for what? Current step for what? Oh, discover Wellspring Lake at the Moonwell. Okay, so, but where is that? Wellspring Lake. Oh, yeah, the lake? Okay. Toothpaste on myself somehow. So annoying. Oh, I was yeah, my bathroom, my shower mirror keeps getting soap scum, and so I clean it with toothpaste because it's a really good way to get that shit off of it and some of my shirt somehow. Yeah, this guy's good. I didn't really follow what he was saying is the problem.
Hello to whoever finds this journal. My days in Maryland have been rewarding as
Thank you for the extra content from the stream. I'd like to sub to your channel.
I have spent the last 6 years as
Bravado.
in hopes the knowledge I have gained over the time spent in this world to bring good fortune to whoever finds this
Aggro.
and to help them get a better
Aggro.
understanding of the world they are about to enter. My intent is to create a compendium of how the world works, what it has to offer, and how you can survive and prosper. There are times I feel my work will only serve more confusion about what I found, but I also felt it necessary to compose my ideas and experience to illuminate a path to those who wish to explore. Contained within are recipes, survival tips,
Aggro.
warnings, and more, all in an effort to promote safe travels and an overall awareness of the world you are entering. There will be times when you will be tested in ways this compendium can either prepare you for or help you from. Your choices as a player and a guild may lead to swift and unprecedented consequences. I believe this to be the ultimate guide for survival and success. Welcome to Mortal Online 2. Before we talk about the culinary arts of Mortal Online, let's first do a quick review on nourishment reserves. Your character has stamina, health, and mana reserves. You also have a hunger stat and a thirst stat, but don't worry about the thirst stat, that's for another video and has nothing to do with the topic of today. These nourishment reserves are very important to any character. If the reserves get too low, then you will take penalties.
I'm
ranging
done with
from
herbalism and
regeneration,
fishing.
total
I
number
can
of
leave the
insects
zone,
that
which is
pull,
super
and
good. I'm
you
not
upgrade.
done with the zone, but
Graybar is a
I can leave the
less
zone
than
because I'm
total
totally
stat
completed.
pool. So if you have 10 stamina,
People say to do engineering, but I hate engineering. I don't like engineering. I've tried and tried. I've done engineering a bunch of times. I don't like engineering. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's good. And I'm not doing fucking engineering. I don't care what all the scrubs on the videos say. I'm not doing engineering. Fuck that. No.
This is
Aggro.
where food comes
It
in.
fails most
With
of the
the correct food
time.
made by the top chefs of Maryland, the food you eat will
Sets
greatly
you
and
back, gets you
sufficiently give
killed.
back your total and more. Hence,
Almost all of it,
reserves.
except for
Giving you
target
a
dummies. The only reason to go engineering, that's not a good enough reason in my estimation. With how much money herbalism will make you, like there's no reason why you couldn't go herbalism as a rogue.
Character get hit
You know.
or cast magic. After the reserves run low, the total point pool lessens and lessens until you rest away your gray bar and eventually sit and eat. Health reserves will go down.
Yeah,
the more you take
DirectX
damage, and
12
when
is
you rest
much
away
better.
your gray bar, it pulls points out of the reserves.
I'm getting good frames,
And
but
the same goes
I
for
bet
the
I
stamina
still see my
and
memory
mana.
leak, which is
Managing
annoying.
your reserves and hunger can be tricky. For better quality food that you eat,
I don't know about
can be
high. Let's go.
but if reserves
Well,
are
yeah, on
too low, or if you
effects.
have
Oh, I've got
multiple
aggro.
members
Yep.
in different areas, you may have to eat more food item, and you may not be hungry enough to do so. Also, keep in mind, any health reserves you attempt to gain over your max reserve limit result into weight gain. And keeping low health reserves or taking damage or using a lot of stamina reserves leads to weight loss. You can make dishes that are strictly for weight gaining, weight loss, size modifiers like growing or shrinking.
Wow.
Cooking is another form of alchemy, more or less, but is also on a separate system with its own unique uses. There are similar, but not the same. Moving on to the cooking skill, it only takes around 900 skill points to be a full cook. You can be a simple cook or the most advanced chef and really get into the system. The skills you will need are as follows. Also, the vast majority of these skills are secondaries, so if there is a plus sign next to the skill, it's a parent skill plus the secondary skills underneath it. That way, I keep the list short and don't totally info dump on you. Also, make sure that you have the lures that you want to work with, whether that be meat, fish, flesh, vegetables, and we'll get into it. Alchemy and alchemy contraptions are both a primary. These skills allow you to use the different alchemy tables that you will need to extract oil, leaves, seeds, and juices from different plants and fruits you will need to cook with. It also reduces yield waste when extracting, and you can unlock taste identification. Next, you will need animal
Yeah,
materials
that's
and
better.
botany. Both of these can be
Oops.
found under the material lore. These skills are the skills that will allow you to learn how to use meat, veggies, plants, wood, and other materials you will cook with. Lures are everything in this game, and cooking is no different. It is important that you know what you are using as well as how to use it, and if your character doesn't know what a carrot is, how will he know where it belongs?
Oops.
That would be in a nice stew. Get your mind out of the gutter. Obviously, you will need the cooking skill and advanced cooking skill. These are self explanatory. Advanced cooking is a primary, but cooking
Is
is
he
a
dying?
secondary. Under the crafting appliances, you will need botany appliances and both skills underneath this. I also heard that you need the metallurgy skill, but I'll be honest, I don't know what that could be used for, but I also can't give you all the secrets to the game. The press will allow you to press oils and juices out of fruits and plants. The herb station will allow you to extract leaves and seeds from different plants. Next, you will need cooking tools and advanced cooking tools. Cooking tools are the baking stone, cooking pot, and spit.
Aggro.
Advanced cooking tools are fermentation jar, baking pot, smoke box, and steam pot. Each tool is used to make specific types of food, such as dumplings, nuggets, barbecued, roasted, stews, soups, breads, pies, you get the idea. We will be talking about this more later on in the guide. Each tool is also best at different nourishments, such as mana, health, and stamina. Herbalism and milling is under extraction. These skills allow you to process grains to turn into flour, and herbalism, as mentioned earlier, are herbs and spices to extract the seeds and leaves. Now, by this time, you should have 200 skill points left over. If you're going to be a full chef, you can spend these points as you wish, like into advanced enderology or other skills. But what I would do personally is go into fishing and butchery. Fishing is an excellent source of income and rare meats and materials that make some of the best food in the game, some of which doesn't even need cooked or butchered and can be eaten whole and raw. Butchery is self explanatory. This will get you your meats, your skins, your teeth, and other ingredients that you would need and help raise the lures of the food you cook with. So let's move on to talking about food, what you all probably came here for. This is a starter guide, so don't expect any endgame recipes or deep dark secrets. The cooking system is still being discovered and learned, and everyone getting into the skill is still learning the skill. Some say it's broken, some say it's still being learned. What is for certain is some foods do not need cooked, some foods only need one or two ingredients, and anything more people say is just for role playing purposes. But to build on the thought of what is certain, when you trade a player a nice looking piece of food, say like nuggets, they will be happy and value the food a bit more than a normal everyday dish. Remember, chef, people eat with their eyes before their mouths. Also, to go a little further into the cooking, cooking is based off of percentages and ratios, so for those that like math, alchemy and cooking might be for you. I, however, am terrible at math. So to touch on it, say a recipe calls for 9 flour to 1 meat to 1 filler. That is a 9 to 1 to 1 ratio. or 80% flour, 10% meat, 10% filler, giving you 100% product. Let's start cooking to better explain. Cooking with a baking stone will bake you breads and other baked goods. To achieve this, you need 40% flour base, 20% liquid or oil base, and 40% less than 40% or equal to 40% fillers. Based on the fillers used, you can produce different quality breads. So let's try to make a banana bread. Now, in order to make the flour that we need for the bread, we must go over and use what I think is called the grinder. Yeah, we need to grind the rye or the flour or spelt, whatever type of wheat or grain that you have harvested. So to do this, we'll go over to the extractor. We have 4,000 rye on us, and we'll do about 1,000 of that to turn to turn to flour. Now, I don't obviously I don't have the lures on my characters, so this isn't going to be max yield or anything. You need the milling skill in order to achieve the better yields out of the rye. So 1,000 with no lore gives us 135. Ugh, that's a little low, but that's okay. We can still work with that. We can still bake a bread. So let's cut over to cooking with the baking stone. Alright, so let's go over to this campfire and see if we can't make some banana bread. So once again, we're looking for 100% ratios. Whether that be a 4 to 1 to 1 or a 4 to 2 to 2.
Be careful.
Types of ratios. What we're looking for is a complete percentage of 100%. So to get started, we drag our baking stone into the cooking window and then add our ingredients. Remember, we're looking for 100% of the product. So 60, 20, 20, or a 6 to 2 ratio. So breads can make one of the best stamina foods in the game. For the banana bread recipe, we're adding 20 milk, 60 rye, and 20 bananas, a 6-to-2 ratio. Now, this recipe had a little bit of food poisoning in it. Not enough to really make you worry, but I added boar into the recipe, and that took away the poison properties. This is why I think you need the metallurgy skill into cooking, because some minerals in the game will negate or take out impurities of the food. Okay, moving on to the turned spit. This is probably the first thing you're going to use, and it's pretty decent for health food. But we're going to use the springbok meat to show off a couple of recipes, and this is a good example to how simply using one ingredient over many ingredients will get you different results and sometimes even better results. So if we put 100 springbok onto the spit and hold down cook, we're going to make roasted springbok. Sapid is the quality of your dish. Roasted is just the type of type of process it went to making the dish. And then if you look down, our health nourishment is at 20, our stam is at 19. That's just cooking the meat alone. If we wanted to go a little deeper into the system, the cooking spit is the only barbecue utensil in the game. You can have up to a 5% water base, and you can have up to a 11% of fuel source, meaning wood. So 11%, but for like simple math, we're gonna call it 15%. You can have 11% minimum. Let's use 60 springbok meat, and we'll drag that here. Now for a fuel source, we're going to just take, we'll take 15 of that. Remember, we're trying to hit 100%. So let's add some pepper into there. We'll add like, I don't know, 10 pepper. And we can add a water source or a liquid source. For some reason, you can't use cream. You might be able to use milk. Let's try milk. Okay, so if we look at our numbers, here's 20, 30, and 90. So we can probably add a bit more pepper into that, or if we have anything else in here. We have some rye flour, we have some rye. So where are we at? 70, 85, 90. Let's add 10 rye into this.
Oh,
And then we're gonna
there's
compare
a
the
duel in his
differences.
video, and it
So we
freaked
have
me
the
out. I was
centric
like,
white
the fuck's
wood
going on?
roasted springbok with milk, pepper, and whole rye. See, the health nourishment is at an 8. The stam's at 12, but the mana nourishment's pretty high. There's also some food poisoning in there because I didn't put boar in, but hey, that is what it is. But you see how just adding like just sometimes leaving things alone give you better health nourishment. We can't add cream using this utensil, so I know from MO1 that sorry, I'm trying to think and do math. I know from MO1, pepper used to be a health resource. So we're gonna add 20 pepper, and we're gonna add some milk to give it some more fattening properties. So if we just cook this together, oh, nothing happens. Oh, that's because we use too much milk. We gotta use up to 5% liquid base. And then we can probably add the white wood, but let's just try this recipe real quick.
Goddess bless
Okay. That makes experimental roasted springbok milk and pepper. It gives it a bit more health nourishment than adding the rye and adding the wood. It seems all pretty even actually, and there's still some food poisoning in there. That's probably, well, no, we added milk. Not sure what's given it the poison length. Maybe the rye? No, we didn't use rye. But either way, it just goes to show, like, sometimes it's better just to cook things the way they are than to add a bunch of complicated recipes. Anything more than just a few ingredients into a dish is more or less served for, like, role-playing purposes, but it's always fun to experiment and to come up with your own recipes. There's foods out there that can make you shrink, that can make you grow, that can make you gain weight, lose weight, age, de-age, or maybe the aging's alchemy. There's a lot of different things that food can do, and there's thousands of different combinations and recipes. This is a really deep system, but sometimes sometimes less is more. So let's move on to our next tool. Okay, moving on to our last basic tool item, it's going to be the cooking pot. Upon adding a liquid, it is very important that you ratio your liquids correctly. If you have less than 25% liquid, you are going to make a stew. If you have 26 to 50%, you're going to make a boiled dish.
What?
And 51 to 90%, you're going to make a soup. Anything higher than a 90% liquid, you have a chance to make a
Cool.
concoction. A concoction.
I better kill him.
I'm not exactly sure what that is, but each one of these different types of
Oh yeah, I remember the
dishes
system
this
now.
pot is going to have a different outcome on the stats.
Oh, I like
of
that.
the
Yeah,
item,
that's really
the
cool.
nourishment of the items. So we're going to
Do a
try
little
to
dance.
we're going to try to cook each of these dishes, and if it takes too long or whatever, then I'll probably cut it down. I want to talk about fish meat. We're going to try to work with fish meat a little bit. Fish meat is super tricky in the game. I know like fishing and cooking go hand in hand, as you want all natural ingredients, and fishing and alchemy also go hand in hand.
Ooh,
Some fish you
good.
can eat without cooking, and it gives you benefits right away. Some you don't even have to butcher. You can just eat
Oh
the
really?
fish whole.
Oh okay.
It's really weird. Much like how the turnspit, we just put springbok meat on the turnspit and it gave us 20 health nourishment. Then we try to add a bunch of things together. It's not necessarily like you're adding things to the nourishment. It's not an additive or a multiplier. It's really weird on how this system works, and people are still very much trying to figure it out. I just wanted to touch up on fish meat. Sometimes you want to butcher fish, sometimes you just want to eat it all, sometimes you want to butcher it and just eat the meat raw. But we're going to do a bit of we're going to do a bit of experimenting, because this is what this skill is all about. So I'll probably cut some things down until I find something that works. Let's begin with a stew. So we're gonna add a less than 20. We're gonna add 20 since that's less than 25. And then let's add some hot peppers into there. This is going to be mostly a filler, so we'll add 50. And then let's try to add some basil leaf. So we have 70 right now. We can just add 30 into there. Oh, but we need a meat. So let's add 20 more, rather. And then we'll add 10 boarfish meat and see what this comes out as. So let's go ahead. This should make a stew. So we got strange capsium stew with bayless and boarfish. The health nourishment is very low, but the stam nourishment's pretty okay. And it does have some food poisoning and poison length. Again, add boar and it will get rid of all the impurities in it, but it did end up making a stew. Now we're going to try for a boiled dish. For a boiled dish, we need 26 to 50% liquid. So let's just go ahead and add 50 or peppers into that. Let's go ahead and see what happens. This should make boiled. Yep. Now, what else is interesting is if we would add flour into that, we could make a fried or a deep fried item. You can add around 44% fat like cream, butter, tallow to make a deep fried item. And with that,
I have no arrows equipped. Come on. Oh, I let. Oh, no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
I know, like, people are constantly.
Wow, I can actually like really outrun these things. It's actually very fun.
Let's have some fun and try to make like some meat nuggets. All right, so we got some tallow.
It's not very effective, but it helps.
Okay, so we got some tallow. We'll add 75 to this.
I'm so tall that I have to aim downwards.
That might be too high actually, because we just don't want bread nuggets. So let's add 60.
So violent and satisfying.
It's animal fat. And then we will add 25 flour. So this gives us 85. And then we will add 15 springbok meat. I don't think that we need anything else, so let's see. We shouldn't add any pepper or anything. I really don't want to add anything else. So let's just see what happens. Oh, we got a succulent battered rye with springbok deep fried in tallow. Nice. The health nourishment's really insane. It's up to a 10. I mean, insane for the amount of like ingredients and ratios we did, and then 29% stam or 29 stam. I'm really excited about that. All right, so let's just make a soup real quick. We got 90. So up to 90%, it should make a soup. And we'll just throw in some. We'll throw in like 5 fish and 5 bayless.
Wonder how good this game would be on controller. It seems like it would be a really good controller
we made a
game.
decoction. Okay, inviting bayless decoction with boarfish. The health nourishment's non-existent. The mana nourishment's up. That's really interesting. Wow. Okay, so let's try with just 60. I kind of. Wow. Okay. So 60. This is 80. Let's put in like 20 leaves and see what happens again. Can't believe we made a decoction. Okay, this should be a soup. Yep, tempting bayless soup with springbok. Hopefully that explained the different uses of the cooking pot. Sorry to go into so much detail or to make this section drag on. This cooking pot is really good for different types of health food if you have the correct ingredients. Let's move on to our advanced cooking tools. Okay, moving on to our first advanced cooking tool, we are going to look at the steam pot. Now, for this, by now you should understand how liquid ratios work and how ingredients ratios work. And if you understand how the multipliers or additives or anything on
The movement keys would be good.
desired nourishment you want, please let me know in the comments. So to make this tool work, you really only need a 31% minimum of liquid base to make it steam.
Oh,
so we're just gonna
wow,
add
okay.
35 water and 65 peppers. That should
Oh,
be
that's
about
fun.
100. I don't know math, and we should get steamed. Yep,
Oh, I like
repungent
this game a
steamed
lot.
Now the reason it's repungent and all that is just because I don't have the lures for advanced cooking. I don't have the skill unlocked, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Next is going to be the smoke box, and what I'm really interested in about this tool is if we can make smoked fish. In order to get our desired product of smoking, we need a fuel source of 11% minimum and a liquid base of 5%. So much like the spit roast, this is the advanced tool for that. So we need an 11, or at least an 11%.
Oh, I'm gonna make
Filters,
so much
so we're
money.
gonna add 15 white wood into this, and then we're going to add 5 water to make the steam and smoke and all that good stuff. White wood is known to have healing properties, so food smoked with it is going to restore HP. However, I haven't tried any other wood, and that's just what I found researching online. Experiment with different food items to discover. That's what this skill is primarily all about. So we have 20 into here. Let's just add 80 springbok into it, and we should get smoke. Actually, I said I wanted to do fish. So let's try it again. Okay, we got our desired product, but let's try fish. So we got 15 wood, 5 water, and well, we need 80 fish, but we only have 50, so let's just see what happens. Oh, nothing, because we didn't complete the ratio, so that's really good to know. So let's just put some chunks of Bayless in there, I suppose. So what, that's 20, 70, yeah, we need 30 Bayless. Now it should come out, and it does. Abhorrent whitewood smoked boarfish with Bayless. It just gives some mana nourishment. This one, it also gives mana nourishment, stam, and a little bit of health. So we use springbok with this, whitewood smoked springbok, and
Ooh, frames are good.
Smoked boarfish.
If it's not in the city.
So we definitely see how adding things doesn't really make sense to me, but hey, we got something with health nourishment out of it, and that's kind of like what I aim for when I'm cooking food, is health. Okay, and moving on to our last advanced tool, we're going to be using the fermentation jar. I'm actually really excited about this because I know a little bit about making alcohol in real life, and I kind of want to see if it works the same. So I don't have anything sweet, so I crushed red jam burros using a press into the juice, and I'm hoping in IRL terms, the natural sugar of that combined with flour would activate the yeast and give us alcohol, right? So in order to make liquor or beer in this game, you need a 60 to 80% liquid base, a 20 to 40% flour base. The rest is filler. Okay, so I want to say the fermentation jar is the advanced tool for the baking stone. Beers make one of the best stam food in the game. So let's try it
Beer.
with a higher liquid base. Let's do 60% juice. And looking at the stats, it has really good mana, but it has the high alcohol that we want, right? And then let's try the 20% rye. And remember, sometimes, or like I said, sometimes less is actually more. So let's do another 20 bananas, and that will give us 100. And see how this turns out. Okay, this one's yellow. Ghastly Wild Rye Beer. Okay, so we made a beer. We didn't just make something fermented. We actually made a beer this time with muse fruit and red jam burro juice. So it's definitely a fruity beer. The alcohol is once again 0.19. The healing length is 1.5 compared to our other one, so it's 0.5.
I'm gonna ding
higher.
11. That's good.
And
Back up to where I was.
stand nourishment's not
What,
not
2
as
days
great.
ago?
It's not as great. That's really interesting. I think it's because
I
we
consider
didn't
giving
add
up, but I was
carbs
like,
to it.
nah. I think that's
So
loser
that's
talk.
really interesting. Okay, so what would happen if we did add?
Like I was like, I'm considering giving this up because it's like I keep dying when I'm AFK. Last time was a phone call of all goddamn things. And I was like, I should just give this up. I don't think I can do it, but I think I can. Because it's a rogue. I mean, like it's a roguelike. If you just keep doing it, it eventually pays for itself to the point where your bad isn't bad anymore because you got just so much gear and can skip so many corners and stuff that it just becomes a lol. A G-Bank would be really good for this. I'd love to stuff a G-Bank with hardcore mats. I think that'd be so cool. It'd be like this king amongst WoW men, you know?
Hello.
Sayurna.
Farewell. Goddess watch over you. Del Nadris. What brings you here? Ishnu Allah. Good
Oh,
luck, friend.
I have another talent. I forgot about that. There we go. Oop. Shit. Oops. Oh, no, because I just dinged. They're like right there, right there. I did it exactly perfect. I was like, wait, do I have another talent? No, I don't. Ooh, that's going to help. I don't like buying, dodge. I don't think I'm going to buy any more than, well, I don't know. I like lightning reflexes, but I'm going to go to precision as soon as possible. Level, 15. Needed to 17 on that other one before I got 2 cats. Gotta remember the 2 cats. They like 2 cats, man. I couldn't even see the second one. I mean, I could, like, but not before it was too late. It's like, fuck, really? You want me to speak to the Fang Helm? Yeah. I think maybe around the 2 cats level, I might take a teleport out. But I don't know.
Speak quickly, young one. I have urgent matters to attend.
You could die right here. And people probably do. I love this mode. I can't stop playing it. I keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, but I don't care. I really feel like I can get through Darkshore now. I just have to remember everything. Like Ashenvale kind of scares me, but I like Ashenvale. I know it well. I've done it many times. I like it's good practice for a season of Discovery well, I don't know. They capped at 25, which isn't like much Ashenvale. Not much, anyways. They seem to hint that it's going to be harder, like the mobs are harder, which might be cool. But I don't know. I don't know. I doubt they change it much, really. I don't think they can change it much. So, like, yeah. I don't know why they're capping it at 25. I know why, because they're slamming this out. So they're like, yeah, we'll give you some content. We'll just do it 25 level blocks. I actually don't mind that. It's good. Hardcore will always be there when Season of Discovery gets boring. I should ask my friend if he wants to play. Okay. I should whisper my friend and be like, would you like to play Season of Discovery or trying to get that running. There we go. Oh.